Yo, what's up, Freeze Army, and welcome to episode 6, the penultimate episode of the inventory showcase, in which I showcase all the items, weapons and suits that are in the game. For this episode we'll be covering all the miscellaneous items. We've already covered all of the weapons in the game, including the melee items, and now I can move on to all the miscellaneous stuff. So first up we've got the red rubber duck, which is the remote explosive duck from Marrakesh. You unlock it at mastery level 15 in Marrakesh, that is. And I'm going to be using this example for the same comparison as the pale duck and the explosive proximity. Now it has the same descriptions as well, and the proximity explosive duck is unlocked at mastery level 20 in Sapienza, and again the description is basically the same for all proximity items, so there's nothing really any difference really of any of the ducks or the ranges. And I'm going to show you an example now of the range you get from the duck explosions themselves, and it's pretty much true for all of the explosives in the game, apart from the big demo Semtex C4 explosives. And this is pretty much the range of the majority of explosives in the game. I use this table as a reference to all my tests here for explosions, and this is the distance between the lethal range of it. And it's not that much, it's about 2 or 3 steps, and it's not that much at all. It's about a meter or two, and that's as far as it goes. So the lethal range isn't that much, and if you step further than the barrel on that table, you know it's not gonna. And it's the same with the pale duck. The pale duck is exactly the same. To unlock the pale duck, by the way, you need to get the Requiem pack, which is like a DLC pack that comes with the game. Next up we have the proximity explosive and the remote explosive, the ICA versions of that. The ICA remote explosive is unlocked at mastery level 20 in Paris, and again the same description when it comes to all standard explosives. Now the lethal range of the proximity is quite surprising. I mean, this is you have to get relatively close to get for the proximity to trigger, and that's as close as you can get. It's about half a meter or so, about a step or two. It's not that much. Yeah, it is quite relatively close, but the actual explosive range was quite kind of surprising to me because of it's a remote explosive and a proximity explosive, so I expected them to be a little more extended range of the explosion rather comparative to the ducks. So at this point it's literally pointless using the ICA explosives over the rubber ducks. It makes no sense using them, other than the fact that you don't have the rubber ducks. That's the only reason why you wouldn't use the rubber ducks themselves. So moving on, next up we have the proximity demo explosive, which is unlocked at mastery level 20 in Marrakesh, and it's pretty much the same as the remote CX demo block, which is unlocked at mastery level 20 in Colorado. And again the descriptions are relatively the same as the previous explosives that we've already discussed. However, it's a little bit different this time. It says it has a larger high risk of collateral damage. So I assume that the blast radius of these explosives are going to be a lot more larger than the previous explosives, because up till now all the explosives so far have been exactly the same until we actually tested these demo blocks themselves. First I wanted to test the proximity distance and when it actually triggers itself, and it's actually exactly the same as the regular proximity. It's the same distance. It's about halfway between the barrel and the explosive there before it triggers. So there's no surprise there. It was pretty much exactly the same as the regular proximity. In regards to the actual blast radius itself, it is absolutely large in comparison to the other explosives. So this is the maximum distance you can be. It's the maximum distance you can be in lethal range. So if you actually draw a whole circle around this, if you could in your head, you could assume that you could take out the entire room with this one explosive. I shot it because it's the proximity, but it's exactly the same for the remote explosive itself. Next up is the Napoleon Blownaparte, which is unlocked to mastery level 10 on professional mode in Paris, and we also have the Iconator, which is unlocked after you complete the full mastery in the Icon, a bonus mission in Sapienza, and that is a proximity explosive that makes a sound and alerts people to the actual item itself. So they're all basically the same item, however one of them is a remote explosive, the other one is a proximity. So the remote one is actually a very good item to have, the Napoleon Blownaparte, because you can use it as a mini distractional device. So as soon as you put it down or place it down, I'm going to use this table as a reference once more, and it will make a noise, and if anyone's in the area, they will get distracted by it, and it's an unsuspicious item, so you don't need to worry about it too much. Now, when you explode it, it has the same blast radius as, like I said, as the regular other explosives. There's no difference there in comparison to the other explosives. And it's the same as the Iconator as well. So if you were to shoot that, for example, you know, it's the same blast radius for that as well as the other explosives, apart from obviously the Semtex, the C4, whatever you want to call it. And the proximity range is also exactly the same as the other proximity explosives. And as I'm about to show you here, the Iconator, again, there's nothing special about it. I haven't really found a use for it, but it just makes a noise. But because it's a proximity, it's not an item where you can just go and pick back up like the Napoleon Blownaparte. But it has, again, the same blast radius as the other explosives, so there's nothing really unique in that aspect. Next up is the explosive compound, which you unlock in mastery level 15 in Hokkaido, and it's basically just a small gunpowder bag that you can shoot and it will explode itself. Also, we have the remote breaching charge, which is unlocked at mastery level 5 in Sapienza, and this is just you know, you breach open doors. You can use it as a distraction as well. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what the breach charge can do, because it is a very useful item when it comes to using the breach charge itself, and it has a small blast range. Now I try to kill myself because I thought it has got a small blast radius, but it doesn't kill you if you stand over it. However, if you do crouch over it and always all of a sudden just put your butt cheek to it, you can actually kill yourself with the blast radius of the breach charge. So it is possible to kill yourself with the breach charge itself. So here's a couple of examples of what you can actually do with the breach charge and what makes it very good. Now, if you've got a locked door or a locked safe or anything like that, you can use the breach charge, obviously blast open the door. That's you know, the obvious thing. That's what it's mainly designed for. The next thing you can do is use it as a distraction to get someone out of the area, or get you know, a high-ranking person to come out along, like a security guard or a bodyguard. Or we shouldn't say high-ranking really, but more of like a security person to come along, or just to interrupt conversations or whatever. As long as you're not spotted with it in your hand, because it is an illegal item technically, so you just need to watch out for that. So I'm just going to quickly clear these out and show you a couple more examples of what you can do with the breach charge. Now, you've already got, you can breach open the doors like I've already shown you. You can use it as a distractional device like I've just shown you as well. You can also use it as an explosive device as well, on top of that. So it has multiple uses, which is what makes it a very good item to use, especially for elusive targets, for example. You can also use them to explode fire extinguishers as well. I completely forgot to showcase that. So I'm going to subdue this guy. I'm going to show you it actually does have a lethal range on it, like I've just shown you. I can do it. You can kill yourself with it, but as long as you drop the breach charge on the body itself, once you kill the target like this, it will count as an explosive kill. So keep in mind for future contracts, if you want to complete a contract and it says, you know, you have to kill them with an explosion, you can always use a breach charge for that particular you know, complication. But for the explosive compound, it's nothing really impressive about it. It has the same blast radius as all the other explosives. The only difference is it's not a suspicious item and you have to shoot it to explode it. So next up is the modern Emetic Syringe, and that's unlocked to mastery level 5 in Colorado. And the description is basically you stab someone with a syringe and they'll get sick and head to the toilet. The antique Emetic Syringe is unlocked to mastery level 10 in professional mode in Sapienza, and it has the same description, except for it's just a reskin really. But for the antique lethal syringe, you unlock in the HITMAN Horror Challenge Pack in Bangkok. So it's 3 different locations you can unlock all the syringes from. I'm going to showcase the Emetic Syringe and the modern syringe, as they are basically exactly the same as the antique ones. Anyway, they're just, like I said, they're just reskins. There's nothing special about them. So I'm just going to distract this guy here, stab him with the Emetic Syringe, which is going to make him be sick, so you'll head straight to a toilet where you can go ahead and drown him, and you'll get an accident kill for that. As for the as for the lethal syringe, I should say, I'm going to show you exactly what it does. Like I said, it's the same whether it's the antique or the modern, it doesn't matter, they're both exactly the same. With the modern lethal syringe, you have that in your inventory already by default, so you don't have to unlock that or anything like that. So it's a very good item to use when you can get an instant poison kill there and then. So I've killed her then, but both those kills were technically accident kills, you know, / poison kill, because they're pretty much both the same really. So next up is all the poison vials, and the first one is the Emetic Poison Vial, which you unlock to mastery level 10 in Marrakesh. And basically it's a vial of poison which you use to poison food or drink, so they all work the same way in that respect when it comes to the vials. The lethal poison vial is unlocked to mastery level 10 in Sapienza. and the sedative poison vial is up to mastery level 11 in Paris. And for the sedative poison, it just basically makes them unconscious once they've consumed the poison from the food or drink. So I'm going to use the Emetic poison vial on this drink right here, and what that's going to cause Sato to do, he'll drink from the champagne, and like I said, he'll become nauseous and head to the nearest toilet or bin, whichever is closest. So he'll head to whatever he can be sick in first. So it can be a kind of annoying though when you've poisoned something and you want him to head to a bathroom, but in fact instead he goes to the nearest bin, where there's absolutely nothing you can do with him in that situation. It can be very effective when you're trying to get an accident kill, because when you drown them, it is technically an accident kill, like I said earlier. But if they head to the bin, there's nothing they can do. But this is a good way to take Sato out of the fashion show and get Novikov on stage by himself. So just in case you didn't know that, that's how you do that one. Next is the worst item in my opinion in the game. It's the sedative poison vial. What it essentially does is just makes the person who's consumed it unconscious, just like that. But the problem is with that is, his body is immediately found, and you'll get a body found, taking off your bonus at the end. I can't see any effective way of getting this to become useful. Let me know in the comments if you've ever actually found a good use for the sedative poison vial, because I'm actually interested to know if there's an actual useful way of using this sedative poison vial, because I can't see any useful way of it being effective. Next is the lethal poison vial, which is obviously self-explanatory. It will kill them right on the spot just like that, and that is the lethal poison vial in action. Next two items are the distractional devices, and the first is the ICA Remote Audio Distraction, which is unlocked at Mastery level 10 in Sapienza. And the next one is the 47 Mixtape, which is unlocked at Mastery level 20 in Bangkok. Now, if you're wondering what the differences are, they're pretty much both exactly the same, only, like I said, it's another reskin. The only difference between the two audio distraction devices is the Mixtape will play music, whereas the normal distraction device will play a beep, just like you're hearing right now. They have the same audio ranges, there's no difference there. It is easy to unlock the audio distraction device because you can unlock it only in Sapienza, rather than waiting till you get to the 4th episode in Bangkok. But it's essentially the same item, there's no difference between the two. So an NPC will hear the noise, they'll come over and get distracted by it and lead them into the room where you want it to be. You can then retrieve the item and wait for them to come in the room and take them out, or you can remove a guard in the area by doing this. So if you leave the item there, the guard will pick it up and take it out of the area, and that will remove a guard out of the situation. So you can use it for that sort of situation. But again, the Mixtape is exactly the same as the audio distractional device, and also the explosive phone does the same kind of thing as well. So the next item is the Disposable Scrambler, which is not to Mastery level 15 in Colorado, and it's just an electronic lockpick really. There's nothing other than that you need to know. But with the Disposable Scrambler, what you need to keep in mind is when you unlock these swipe card doors, and if you're spotted doing it, basically it's an illegal act and you'll get suspicious and people will end up shooting you and all that kind of stuff. But you do get 3 of them, which is quite handy, especially useful in Hokkaido and Bangkok. But again, it is a suspicious item, so you just need to keep that in mind whenever you're using it. So next up is the ICA Explosive Phone that I mentioned earlier, and that's unlocked at Mastery level 10 in Bangkok. Now, the unique thing about this item is if you throw it on the floor or drop it on the floor, someone will pick it up, whether it be a target or whatnot, and you can use it to call the phone, and as soon as they answer the phone will explode. But you can use it mainly as an audio distraction device. It can come in handy because NPCs won't get scared of the item. However, if you use it to call the phone, the NPC will pick it up and then put it in their pocket, but then they will proceed to answer the phone, and this is what will happen. It will cause the explosion, and that is what the explosive phone does. So the last item we have is the big one, which is a small fireworks that you unlock in Landslide after completing all the challenges there. And what it is it's like I said, it's a small firework that will create a distraction for a group of people, for example. I'm going to show you a quick example of the big one right here. Again, it can be useful if you want to distract a multiple amount of people, because if you throw it on the floor, you know, people will get drawn to it. They'll walk towards that in that direction and look straight at the firework. It doesn't last very long, but if you want to commit an illegal activity during this time, that is the best time to do it. But that is the final item, and although it's called the big one, it is pretty much, well, it's a little one, if that. But yeah, but that was all the items that we have currently in Hitman. All we got left now is the suits to showcase. So if you was wondering why this episode looks a bit dark, and you know, some of the shadows and lighting, it looks a little bit different, it's because this whole episode was run in HDR. So I just want to let you know the reason for that is, you know, because I wanted to do something a little bit different and see how it looks in the video itself. So that's going to do it for the entire, you know, showcase of all the items and weapons that are in the game so far. Like I said, all we've got left is the suits, so that will come up in the final episode of this series. And yeah, thank you very much for all your support recently, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.